Welcome to Thunder Bay Live. I'm here today with Shane Judge. Welcome, Shane, first of all.
Hi, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure. We're at the Renaissance Cafe, and we're here today to talk about Hike for Hospice, which is coming up in May.
That's right.
But before we do that, they're out there in the community, as well as myself, when I first heard of the hospice or hospice organization, I didn't know what that was about. I was thinking St. Joseph's. Could you explain to me and the people out there what hospice is all about? Who are they?
Sure. It's called Hospice Northwest. It was formed several years ago. It's not a building. There is a hospice in Thunder Bay. You know, the 5th floor of St. Joe's Hospital is a hospice where people who are in their last days are just about to die. That's where, generally speaking, you go. Lots of people die at home, of course, but there is an actual facility. But that's not Hospice Northwest at all. Hospice Northwest, you have to keep it in your mind, is a group of volunteers. They're volunteers who help people in their last days come to understand this part of the passage of their life, provide care and comfort. They'll sit down and just be a companion. They'll write a letter for you. They'll make a phone call to somebody that you're a little worried about. They'll do all sorts of things. They'll do a little running around for you. So they're an organization of volunteers that do things that, generally speaking, the hospitals don't.
Do these volunteers have any special training?
Yes, they do. That's one of the reasons why we have a Hike for Hospice. They get sensitivity training. They're non-judgmental. They learn to just quietly listen, to ask questions to stimulate the conversation, to not tread on cultural sensitivity. They do get training, and training's expensive, and that's why we have to fundraise.
Okay, so let's talk about the fundraising aspect for now. This event, where is it taking place?
Sure.
And what's happening there?
This is an exciting one because it's the 5th annual Hike for Hospice. We call it hike just because hike rhymes with hospice. It's actually a walk around Boulevard Lake. On May 1st, it's a Sunday. It's a Sunday afternoon. It starts at around 12:30, and the hike, after some ceremonies, will begin just outside of St. Ignatius High School. That's where we gather. The whole idea, of course, is to gather pledges before the event and come with your money, sign up, and then we have a wonderfully entertaining day of walking around the park. You come back and you can have some pizza and meet with friends. It's just a lovely time. I was in the event last year and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now,
how would I go about signing up? How do I find out?
Sure. What you've got to do is you can call Hospice Northwest. They're in the phone book. Or you can go online, just Google Hospice Northwest, and there's a link right there on the website that you just click and you'll find a quick, easy way to sign up. Get your friends, come together, and fill out the form online, or just do it over the phone, or the day of, from 12:30 till about quarter to 2, you can just sign up right on the spot.
So I can show up? Bring my money and
bring a little bit of money. Doesn't matter how much money, just show up.
Okay.
Even bring your dog. We're going to have a best dog, however they're dressed up. We'll have a contest for that and prizes.
Now I know there are prizes there because I remember attending it and obviously participating, and there's some major prizes.
Yes, there's actually a prize that amounts to a draw that people can buy $10 tickets. The first prize is a free trip anywhere that WestJet flies for 2. There's also part of that package, a second place prize is a weekend camping trip at a resort in the Thunder Bay area, which is really nice. So there's that prize. There will also be draws. The people at Hospice Northwest have scoured the city for some really wonderful prizes where people can buy a little ticket and put it in a box, and you have a draw at the end of it, and you can win prizes there. There are also prizes for the team that raises the most money, the team that dresses up the best, all sorts of prizes, a ton of them, and they're listed on the website.
Hospice Northwest. I want to go back and talk a little bit about the way people think about dying.
Right.
Because I know St. Joe's looks after a few people, but there's way more people that die in their home.
That's right.
And could you just
talk
about that a little bit, just for people out there, because I want them to realize that this is an organization, this is the last organization you're going to deal with.
That's right.
Before you leave this earth.
That's right. You know, it's funny, we're full of life, and to talk about death seems a little strange, but death is an important part of life, and lots of people like to shun away from it. and not talk about death. But it's really important. You know, back in the day, we used to have lots of ministers and priests who would come and visit you in your final days. And there was generally a belief in the afterlife when religion was more prominent in this and every other community across the country. Now we have a much more secular society. And I've been around some elderly people, and their greatest fear is a fear of dying. They question, is there an afterlife or is there not, or is this it? Well, for many of us, this is it. But for many others, there is an afterlife. Hospice Northwest isn't judgmental. But I think it's very valuable that you have some help from somebody that can provide you care and comfort in those last days when you're really anxious. I'm terrified of dying. Well, these people are trained to help you walk through it, to recognize the importance of this part of your life.
Well, the older people are not the only ones worried about dying. I'm worried about dying too. I want to live forever, right?
Yes.
Shane, I want to thank you very much for coming here today. One more time, the date of the Hospice Northwest hike.
Sure, it's Sunday, May 1st, St. Ignatius High School. Get there around 12:30. You can pre-register by going online, but you can also register and bring your money right there the day of, and there are people that will sign you up. It's a great event. It's really the first walk anywhere in the city in the springtime, and we're hoping that May 1st is going to be a wonderful day.
I'm going to try to be there for sure. Hike for Hospice, be sure to support this organization. They do a wonderful job. It's the most important organization out there because that's the last organization you're going to have experience with. So support them. And I want to thank all the volunteers and the people that come out to support this wonderful organization. Thanks again, Shane, for being here today.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure talking to you, and I'm sure we'll get you back here on other topics.
Yes.
Shane Judge for Hike for Hospice.
Thanks very much.